Hello everyone, this is Showtime 112. On May 21st, 1982, the British Amphibious Landing Group entered San Carlos Water, a fjord-like bay in the northwestern part of East Falkland Island. Although the landing went smoothly, the Royal Navy ships soon came after heavy Argentinian aerial attacks which resulted in sinking of one frigate and damage to several other ships. The attackers suffered heavy casualties in the process. The next day was mostly quiet thanks to bad weather over Argentina, but on May 23rd, the attacks continued. The most numerous Argentinian combat aircraft was A-4 Skyhawk. This light attack aircraft was bought second-hand from the United States with deliveries between 1966 and 1978. It was operated both by the Argentinian Air Force, Fuerza Aérea Argentina, and Argentinian Naval Aviation, known under the acronyms CANA or COAN. Both services purchased remanufactured A4B versions which received new designations: P or Papa for the Air Force and Q for the Navy. The Air Force apparently still referred to their models as B, Bravo, and in literature you can find both Bravo and Papa designations for them. Air Force purchased some C variants as well. There were about 40 Skyhawks operational in the Air Force when the war began. The Navy operated a single squadron of 8 Skyhawks, initially embarked on the 25 de Mayo aircraft carrier and later from Rio Grande Air Base. The overall condition of these airframes wasn't very good. There were cracks in the wings, many cannons were non-functional, and ejection seat rocket packs were often expired. The first Argentine sortie on May 23rd was launched by the 5th Aviation Group from Rio Gallegos at about 12:30. Although more airplanes were scheduled, 4 of them eventually proceeded towards the San Carlos water. They were led by Capitan Carvalho, followed by Primer Teniente Rinque, Primer Teniente Guadagnini, and Alferez or Second Lieutenant Gomez. At about the same time, the Navy 3rd Squadron launched all of its 4 combat-ready A4s. The flight leader was Capitan de Corbeta or Lieutenant Commander Castro Fox. Other pilots in the flight were another Lieutenant Commander, Zubizarreta, and 2 Tenientes de Navío or lieutenants, Benitez and Oliveira. The latter had to turn back because of a fuel transfer problem during the airborne refueling from a KC-130. Just before 2 p.m., the Air Force flight took a low-level route east of Darwin and then north towards Fanning Head. The flight then split into 2 sections and proceeded to attack 2 Royal Navy frigates whose task was air defense of the landing force at the entrance to San Carlos water. One was HMS Antelope, a Type 21 frigate. The other was Broadsword, a frigate of Type 22. Carvalho and Gomez attacked from the north. Carvalho had to abort his attack because a Seawolf missile damaged his aircraft while another passed nearby. Gomez managed to hit the HMS Antelope with his bomb, but it failed to explode. Carlos Rinke attacked HMS Broadsword but without success. Primer Teniente Luciano Guadagnini attacked the Antelope. He managed to release his bomb, but he was then hit. The exact weapon which hit his plane is uncertain, as it varies from source to source. It might have been an Antelope's gun, a Seawolf missile fired by HMS Broadsword, or even one of Rapier batteries from the surrounding hills. Guadagnini's Skyhawk collided with the ship's mast and then crashed into the water. His bomb hit the ship but also failed to explode. HMS Antelope now had 2 unexploded bombs in its interior, and the danger was not yet over. The Navy flight arrived only several minutes later. The leader, Capitán de Corbeta Castro Fox, decided to attack from higher altitude after hearing Carballo's report of unexploded bombs. Each pilot selected a different ship but failed to hit them, having to dodge a number of surface-to-air missiles. Zubizarreta failed to release his bombs because of an electrical failure. All 3 Navy Skyhawks escaped without damage, but there were still problems ahead. Castro Fox barely made it back to base as his external tanks were not transferring fuel properly. Zubizarreta came back with his bombs still on. According to one source, he chose not to select emergency jettison to preserve them for a future mission. As he touched down on a wet runway, strong crosswind made him lose control and the airplane went to the side of the tarmac. He attempted an ejection, but possibly due to an expired rocket pack, he wasn't propelled high enough and he fell to the tarmac without his parachute deployed, and he died. Ironically, his airplane wasn't badly damaged, and it was repaired within weeks. Aboard the HMS Antelope, a Royal Engineering team was now trying to defuse the 2 unexploded bombs. They were unsuccessful and one of the bombs went off. 30 minutes later, the order was given to abandon the ship, which sank the next morning. This mission is a good illustration of the aerial war in the 1982 conflict between the UK and Argentina. Argentine pilots fought with great courage and achieved some success, even when their technology wasn't working properly. At the same time, the cost they had to pay was extremely high. I'd like to thank Patrick Cloutier for sponsoring this video. He's the author of Mussolini's War in the East, an exciting book about the Italian combat operations in Soviet Union. If you want to learn more about this relatively unknown part of World War II history, click the link in the video description. If you liked the video, be sure to press the like button. This small thing is incredibly important for the channel. If you want to help even more, join our Patreon supporters or donate on PayPal, because that's the only way for the channel to keep producing new content. Thank you and keep watching Showtime 112.